With Bilic in charge and the Olympic Stadium coming next season, West Ham are flying. They're third in the league, 2 points behind leaders Manchester City, with the second most goals scored, 22, in the Premier League this season. Pretty amazing, right? Well, I don't think their performances have reflected how good their results have been. I think that West Ham have been pretty lucky this season. But again, as always, before you call me an arse in the comments, let me explain myself a bit. First, let's talk about West Ham's attack. In the history of Premier League data recorded by Opta, no team has ever managed higher than a 42% conversion rate. That is, 42% of their shots on target become goals. In fact, all teams converge at around 30% unless you're really, really good and maybe a little bit lucky, in which case you can maybe hit 35% if you're creating and taking really good chances. West Ham are currently rocking a conversion rate of 50%. That's absolutely crazy. I think a few weeks ago it was 60%. It's only going to go one way, downwards, and when it does, West Ham are going to lose 20% of their conversion rate like that. See in this graph how conversion percentage on the x-axis starts off all over the place, but then over time, all teams converge at around 30%. It's not uncommon to have big outliers over a small number of games, but West Ham, after 10 games, continue to flip heads over and over again. Eventually, that conversion coin is going to land on tails. Number 2, West Ham's deviation from expected goals this season is absolutely crazy. The expected goals of a shot is the probability, based on historical averages, of that shot going in, and it's been shown over and over again to be a better predictor of future goals and future performance than just normal goals are. So, over a few games, if a team hugely exceeds their expected goals, we can maybe say that they've been a little bit lucky. West Ham have 14 expected goals so far this season, but 22 actual goals, which is by far the biggest deviation in the Premier League. All of these numbers, by the way, come from the brilliant Michael Cayley. I'll leave a link to his Twitter as well as his blog post explaining expected goals in the description below. So, all this sounds pretty doom and gloom, right? West Ham are scoring at an unsustainable rate, they've been very lucky this season, blah blah blah. But I want to make it absolutely crystal clear that when I say lucky, it doesn't necessarily imply bad. Messi can be lucky. Let's say he's a 1 goal a game striker, an unbelievable rate. If he scores 3 goals in 3 consecutive games, we can maybe say that that was a little bit of a lucky streak, but it doesn't imply that his non-lucky level is bad. In the same way, West Ham seem to have been a pretty average attacking team this season. They just looked like a really, really good attacking team, and that's the luck. West Ham have the 5th highest expected goals so far this season. Their shots look just above average, but to be honest, in the season before they moved to a new stadium, just above average sounds pretty great to me. Their shots on target are doing a similar thing, but they're taking those shots from really good locations. They have the 6th highest number of shots in the danger zone so far this season. So for all of these reasons, I think West Ham's attack has been very lucky this season, but that doesn't imply that they've been very bad this season. They really haven't. Now let's talk about their defence. The flip side of conversion rate from before is save percentage. West Ham's save percentage is a little bit above average so far this season, so maybe that's a bit lucky and it's also going to come down. If you remember from before, on the y-axis you can see that team save percentage is everywhere, but over a long enough period of time it eventually settles at a bit under 70%. And the picture from West Ham shots isn't looking that much better. They're allowing opponents the 6th most shots in the league so far this season, an above average number of shots on target, and again the 6th most shots from the danger zone so far this season, all of which contributes to them having the 7th worst defence according to expected goals in the league this year. The huge caveat to this is that whilst expected goals are brilliant at predicting future goals, they're not quite as fantastic at predicting defences. Dustin Ward, another incredible analyst, has shown that generally attacking teams dictate how a game goes to defences, not the other way round. So how many goals you concede, how good your defence looks, generally is a function of the attacking sides that you've played, not necessarily how good your defence is. West Ham have had a pretty difficult schedule so far this season. According to Michael Cayley, the 5th hardest in the league, and okay, they're conceding less goals than would have been expected, but the difference is pretty negligible. Okay, their save percentage is above average, but there is historical precedent for a save percentage to look like theirs over one season. Yes, it's pretty lucky that West Ham have often scored their first goal with their first shot, but as Benjamin Pugsley showed, when teams are winning, they generally have higher save percentages because they move into a defensive shell, they focus more on defending, and so they limit the quality of shots that their opponents have. West Ham have spent a ridiculous amount of time winning so far this season, and a very, very small amount of time drawing, which means that for a large portion of their games, after they score their first or even second shots on goal, they can just sit back and allow their opponents to not have fantastic shots, leading to that higher save percentage. So overall, what's happening at West Ham? Early in the season, their results were powered by crazy conversion percentages, and in the Liverpool game and the most recent 3 games that they've played, the opponents have received a red card. Come on, that's very unlikely to continue over a season. They're not really dominating opponents in terms of shots. Their TSR, or total shots ratio, the number of shots that you take divided by the total number of shots in a game, is pretty average, and their shots on target ratio is the same. They're actually conceding more shots than they take. Their deviation from expected goals so far this season is absolutely crazy. Bilic is cool, but the signings don't look that revolutionary. Payet continues to post excellent numbers, contributing the 2nd most shot assists in the league behind, sorry Spencer, Mesut Ozil, and the 6th most shots plus shot assists behind a player I'm very smug about, Olivier Giroud. His goal impact score is good enough for him to be like an average Champions League player. Goal Impact also thinks it was the right time to get rid of Carlton Cole and Matty Jarvis. Ogbonna and Obiang are okay as backup players, Moses and Alex Song were important players to keep, and Lazzini and Jenkinson aren't loved quite so much. I make sure these videos aren't too clickbaity, and I hope the title for this one isn't too sensationalist. West Ham aren't as good as you think they are. They've been very, very lucky this season, but that doesn't really mean that they're a bad team. Thank you so much to Objective Footy for so much of the data in this video, and for you for watching until the very end. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, comment, and we can talk about all of this below if you agree or disagree with me, and I'll catch you later. Arsenal are in crisis, according to the media and a large portion of their fan base. Despite the necessary time and money, Arsene Wenger did not sign a striker.